We all have those kinds of friends that.
I know. Good morning, everybody. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a raspy voice, I guess, today. We are here for the weekly Marion County Board of Commissioners board session. It's Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, and it's 9:02 a.m., and we're in the Senator Hearing Room at 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. And if you would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We don't have any public comment or anyone signed up for public comment this morning. So we'll go right into the consent agenda.
I think it's my turn.
I think it is.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda under Public Works, schedule and adoption of administrative ordinance for March 26th, 2025 for Zone Change Comprehensive Plan ZCCP, case number 24-004 Woodry Properties LLC, and approve an order authorizing the expenditure of county road fund dollars for emergency maintenance activities on Milton Street Northeast, located in the unincorporated area of Marion County.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I'm just so glad that this was my consent agenda.
I also feel like you have some
I do.
You need some fisherman's friends.
Right.
All right, is there, what am I doing? I have
You have
a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
Is
we're
there any
ready.
further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. All right, we have one item under action this morning to consider whether to accept or deny an appeal of the hearings officer's decision denying conditional use, case number 24-034 Jensen Living Trust. Good morning, Austin.
Good morning, Commissioners. So I was going to bring you the discussion on whether or not to accept this appeal, but some new information has come to light. First, I'm going to pass out to you guys some screenshots of texts that were sent to Commissioner Bethel that I'm going to distribute to you all, so it's all in the public record. The applicant had sent some text requesting leniency or potentially asking if he could withdraw the application to then be given some time to figure out where to move his tenant. So I'll pass these texts out, then kind of explain the case and where we're going from
Great,
here.
thank you.
One text, and
This
The other
is,
text, that's the second
this
text.
is the second,
This
that's,
is the first.
yeah.
This,
Oh, must be in Hawaii.
he lives in Hawaii, so he says aloha, or stays in Hawaii right now.
Okay.
And there's the second text. Everybody copies? First text and second follow-up text.
Thank you.
So this application was originally for a conditional use to allow a manufacturing business on a commercial piece of land in the unincorporated community of Quinnipiac. This is just north of Kaiser. This application was first submitted and approved by planning staff, and then it was subsequently appealed to the hearings officer by neighbors. They appealed because the way the business was operating, it was very loud. A lot of it was being done outside. There was manufacturing and welding being done that they weren't aware of, and there's a lot of noise impacts and things like that. So the hearings officer has subsequently denied approved the appeal, denied the application, saying this was not consistent with this area, and this would not be a good use in this area. The applicant then subsequently appealed that to the Board of Commissioners, which is why we're here today. But the applicant has since formally withdrawn their application and has sent that in writing to the planning department. So at this point, the application is technically non-existent anymore because the withdrawal has been appealed. So our recommendation is the board take no action on this, as there is no case to take action on. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Commissioner Cameron?
Yeah, Madam Chair. Austin, do you have a copy of that written documentation?
I do, yes.
Do you have it with you?
Yes.
Just so we can see it and make sure. That'd be part of the record that was entered since I had that file, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this was sent to me just yesterday in the afternoon, so it's brand new, part of the record.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm good, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay.
So, we don't need to take any motion then?
What do we need to do for the actual record? Because
Nothing, you can just.
Brenda just says it's been withdrawn?
It's been withdrawn.
Okay.
There's no jurisdiction.
Okay, great.
So item number 3, yeah.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Austin.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, well, we have several minutes until 9:30 for our public hearing, so unless there's any other business, I'm going to pause the meeting for the next 27 minutes.
All right, we're gonna get some emails done.
Okay.
So we're
we'll
gonna
be back.
recess till 9:30?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
we'll be back at 9:30. Ready? Great, thanks. All right, we're gonna reconvene the Board of Commissioners board meeting. It's 9:30 a.m. and we're gonna go into a public hearing to consider a mass gathering permit for case number 24-003, White Wind Productions LLC and White Wind Woodland LLC. John. Hi.
Hey, good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Were you just getting going?
Yeah, we're ready.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. For the
Yep, I
record.
opened it, oh, sorry.
gotta
That's
get
why
him.
he's looking at me.
Oh.
Because he's looking at me, okay. We maybe shouldn't take a 28-minute break between things. All right, I'm opening the board has reviewed the documents contained in the record and has had no ex parte communications regarding this matter unless specifically disclosed. If there are any objections to notice, jurisdiction, or conflicts of interest, the parties can raise them during testimony. Planning staff will list the applicable criteria for the application. Testimony and evidence must be directed towards the applicable criteria. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence may preclude appeal on that issue. All right, now you can go.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks for pausing with such
For the
wonder.
record, this is John Speckman with Marion County Planning. The criteria for this application are found in the Marion County Code. MCC 9.25 mass gatherings, MCC 17.136 exclusive farm use zone, MCC 17.119 conditional uses. And I would like to note at the onset that the organizer of this event is White Wind Productions LLC, and the property owner where the event is proposed to take place is White Wind Woodland LLC. In the staff recommendation and the hearing notice, White Wind Woodland LLC is referenced. In the future, the staff will reference the event organizer, White Wind Productions LLC, for the mass gathering permit. The item before you today is an application for a large mass gathering permit for 3 weekends in July. The mass gathering is the Canterbury Renaissance Fair. Large mass gatherings are defined in Marion County Code 9.25.30A as an assembly of more than 3,000 persons at any time. In this case, the applicant is proposing up to 5,000 persons over 3 weekends during the last 3 weeks of July. The dates proposed are July 12th and 13th, July 19th and 20th, and July 26th and 27th of 2025. Marion County Code requires a conditional use permit be approved before or considered in conjunction with a permit for a large gathering. The Canterbury Fair has previously been held over 2 weekends in July. The expansion to 3 weekends required a new conditional use permit be applied for and approved. The applicant applied for conditional use 2439 to approve the expansion to 3 weekends. The Marion County Hearings Officer held a duly noticed public hearing on November 21st, 2024, and on January 3rd, 2025, issued a decision approving the request. The subject property is designated primary agriculture in the Marion County Comprehensive Plan and zoned EFU, exclusive farm use. The subject property is just east of the city of Silverton, located on the south side of Cascade Highway 213, the north side of Evans Valley Loop Northeast, and is bordered on the east by Valley View Lane Northeast. The property is approximately 80.55 acres and largely undeveloped except for a single-family dwelling and accessory structures clustered on the northern end of the parcel. The majority of the parcel is in either farm or forest use. A 50-acre forest in timber and truffle production covers the southern half and eastern quarter of the subject property. Western quarter, excuse me. The 23 acres in the middle and northeastern area of the property are where the fair is held. Grass, seed, and hay are produced in a 7-acre field in the northeasternmost corner of the property, and this field is harvested prior to the fair and utilized for parking. There are no rivers, streams, wetlands, floodplains, or other natural hazards on the parcel or within the immediate vicinity. The applicant attests that the only time there have been non-farm conflicts resulting from the fair are during times of significantly increased traffic that inhibits the ability of farm operators to move equipment. There was 1 year in particular, 2023, when the fair did not provide adequate signage or planning for the volume of Uber, Lyft, and taxi drop-offs. These rideshare services began dropping people off on Highway 213 adjacent to the farm, which resulted in traffic backups along that highway. The applicant has put forth effort and planning to mitigate this issue. In 2024, these ride services had a designated drop-off location on the property with adequate signage to be able to locate that drop-off area. Beyond signage, the applicant provides free shuttles to the fair from 2 parking lots in Silverton and charges for parking at the fair itself. This is intended to lessen the traffic outside the urban area and especially in the area surrounding the fair by incentivizing attendees to ride the shuttle. Marion County Planning received no complaints about traffic during the 2024 Canterbury Renaissance Fair. However, a letter in opposition received last night suggests that traffic continues to have an impact on the surrounding roads and farming operation in the area. Furthermore, this morning, a call from Sheriff Commander Jason Bernards indicated that on at least one instance last year, event organizers attempted to bar Sheriff's Department deputies from entry until the officers explained that they were there because of a dog trapped in a vehicle. Marion County Code 925-140, inspection of premises, states that in applying for a mass gathering permit, the applicant is consenting to allow law enforcement, public health, and fire control officers to come upon the premises at any time for the purpose of inspection and enforcement. This information regarding continued traffic issues in violation of the inspection of premises clause of the mass gathering chapter of Marion County Code indicate that not all of the issues with this event have been ironed out. Staff had found that the applicant met all applicable criteria. However, due to the new information, staff does not recommend approval until such time that the applicant can show that these issues will not be repeated and have been solved. And I will stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Maybe just to clarify, the application this year is to expand the number of weekends that this is going to be operating in, correct?
The conditional use application 2439 was the specific application to expand it. This mass gathering would approve the 3 weekends, but the expansion itself was approved by that earlier conditional use.
Is it possible for this body to not approve the 3 weekends and just approve the 2 weekends that have always been? I see Brandon's nodding his head up and down.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
All right. We have one individual, Nancy White. Would you please come to this microphone here in the front to testify in support of the event? Introduce yourself, name, address.
I am Nancy White, 6118 Mount Angel Highway, Silverton, Oregon, 97381.
Thank you. You're here to speak to us in support of this?
Yeah.
Great, go ahead.
Okay, so, as you know, I own the fair. So, the traffic issues last year were really cleaned up. I was relieved. I know that Marion County traffic control or traffic engineers were out there and they found no issues. The farmer that is, he actually farms my field that we park on. He has his place further down Valley View Road and is a big farmer, he's a big player. And I pointed that out when I applied for the 3rd weekend with the conditional use. I have talked to him. The most traffic we get is from 9 o'clock to about 1 o'clock. They're at the fair. Why? Because the first joust is offered at 12 o'clock. I can move that up to 11, if we could move. Anyway, once that's done, then people start coming and going into the field and the traffic is a non-issue at that point. I mean, there's still a lot, but it's moving very fast and very well. I hired the same crew that I used last year for parking in the field. So they're very much aware of what needs to be done, and they really did a sweet job last year. They really got things going. So I was very pleased. Uber, I understand, which I didn't know at the time, was stopping in the middle of the road, dropping off their people, which, like, why? They are supposed to go where the shuttles go, and that is completely off the field and off of the main traffic area. So I've already called Uber and Lyft, who are the biggest players, and said, yeah, no, just follow the signs. And then we'll have more signage out there this year, keeping the rideshare people off the road, stopping on the road, which is like, why would you do that? Anyway, so in addressing that, I don't, as far as I know, there was no traffic binding up last year, except the Uber people were dropping them off in the middle of the road. Yeah. So I had the big digital road signs last year, and I kept the parking off the main road, which I thought was way cool. So that was handled last year as well. ODOT didn't have any trouble at all with them. And of course, I'll apply with ODOT again for that. The opportunity to run the big digital road signs on the road. As far as the Marion County Sheriffs go, I just found out this morning. There is no reason why somebody should stop anybody, health, fire, law enforcement. They all have full access to that fair. Whoever stopped them didn't have a clue. So I will absolutely make sure that will never happen again, because, you know, it's important. That's what they're there for. And I didn't know about the dog in the car. How stupid is that? But anyway, I also didn't know about the blockage. So we will absolutely make sure that everybody knows that this is like unacceptable. Let them in. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, they can spend the whole day there enjoying the show and leave when they need to. Yeah, I don't have any problems with that. Other than that, I don't know other conflicts. The biggest reason I expanded to the third weekend is, well, two reasons. People love that show. It's really a lot of fun. It's very unique. I do it because they love it. The reason I opened it up to the third weekend, and that is the only date that could be open, is because if we have, theoretically, the same basic amount of traffic, then it'll be moved through all 3 weekends versus just the 2 weekends. That's the current theory. So that if we have, for sake of discussion, 20,000 people in 2 weekends versus 3, you know, then the traffic and the traffic on the hill, because Fairside is actually on a wee hill, would be lessened. One thing that I did learn several years ago, and I may have said this last year, is we went to Arizona Renaissance Fair. It's an 8-week show, big show. And their slow day is 12,000 people. And when I was there, I found that amount of people swallowed the Renaissance Fair. I didn't see much of that fair. I don't want to do that with my with my patrons. I want them to enjoy the fair. I will not overwhelm that hillside with the amount of people isn't my goal. My goal is for people who are there to have fun.
How do you control that?
No selling, just stop the ticket sales. Most of it is on, all of it is online. We say all ticket sales are online. But if you walked up, you as JQ Public, walked up to the gate and said, you know, I just was driving by, I thought this would be fun, we will sell them a ticket. Last year, I think we sold like 300 at the entry booth. But the rest of them, and we did about 45 to 5,000 a day, each day. The second Saturday was the biggest day. We sold about, well, I told you how many we did, and it was a good show. Nobody got overwhelmed. The sales were good. Sales in the vendors that I have up there, I have over 100. All did real well. Everybody walked away happy.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Nancy?
Forgive me, let me explain why I went with the 12th and 13th rather than, well, the weekend before is the holiday weekend. That would not work. And the weekend after is Silverton's Community Festival, Homer Davenport Days. And if I ever hoped to live in Silverton, I couldn't possibly stomp those dates, and I would never. I have zero interest in expanding this any more weekends than these 3. First of all, it wouldn't work, and secondly, we don't need to do more than that.
Thank you.
I do have a question. So this neighboring farmer, you spoke to him before you submitted your application?
Kevin Lowe, yes.
And did he tell you that he was impacted by your event?
I'm sorry, did he tell me what?
That his operations were impacted by your event?
He did, and we talked about it, and I mean, if his people were delayed, it couldn't have been more than 10 minutes, and I'm guessing. But from everything I was told by the people out there, and for me, I say that because I'm everywhere. But the professional crew, they said they kept the traffic flowing. The county traffic control people, engineers, they were out there, and I know because I saw them. And they were just sitting out there on the other side of 213, just watching. And they never came up with a problem. So one of the problems with Kevin is that he does harvest my field. Well, you know, when I got the place, he was harvesting it then, and I said, just go for it. Just, all I need is this. Well, now, with the 3rd weekend, he says that he can't harvest that field that early. I understand. The other thing that we were talking about with that field is that he wanted to reseed it and put more, because the plants are like, what do you say, 12 years old? And they're, you know, need to be replaced. But to do that, he would have to tear it up, reseed it, and we can't use it for a year. That's not gonna happen. So my plan now is to tear it up and put it into horse hay. Being a professional horseman, I got a place for that hay. And then, you know, we would simply harvest it. Because the harvesting for that would be in weather pending May. So that field would be empty.
So, it seems like his perspective, though, is that he has a short window to do harvest,
Right.
and that by taking another weekend, that shortens the window even more, and could make it hard for him to do the work that he needs to do, and his team. Did you talk about ways to accommodate that?
Yes, sir, I understand what you're saying. We did talk about it, and he said, you know, this was last fall, because I told him that we were thinking about going out to the 3rd weekend, and, you know, could you harvest the field? That was the beginning of that conversation. And he wasn't happy about it in that, you know, again, he's moving a lot of rigs back and forth down that road, Valley View, not 213, but Valley View. I mean, yes, 213 too, but Valley View. And a lot of people use his facilities. He felt that his people were being held up, but what I'm contending is the worst of the congestion is from 9 to 1 for, in this case, 4 days. But in all that time, we never had any serious backup. He said, oh, well, my people had to sit there for 10 minutes. I understand that. Time is money. I get it. I'm a horseman. I understand farming. Horsewoman, whatever. But yes, there is some congestion. I mean, it's obvious, but we kept it flowing really, really well. So I don't see, except the Uber people are stopping people, dropping them off in the middle of Valley View, and that was holding up traffic. Well, this year we'll make sure that doesn't happen. I didn't even know it had happened until after the fact. But that was the biggest holdup, was that Uber, I pick on Uber because they're the biggest, but the rideshare people were stopping in the middle of Valley View, dropping their people off, which stopped everything. But if I get them to come off the road into the shuttle area, and there's plenty of room, it's gravelled, and it doesn't interfere with the traffic on the field at all. It's completely different. I don't see that as a big issue, and his truck should be able to get through there pretty short order.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that you're hoping if, with the expansion to 3 weekends, that you'll be able to reduce the number of people per weekend. Does that mean you're gonna cap tickets sales lower than every Saturday to
Honestly, that
reduce
wasn't my plan. We were still gonna cap it at 5K per day.
So you can't
But-
really guarantee that it would spread out.
Truly, we can't,
Yeah.
unless I'm told to cap it, and then I'm willing to do that.
Well, I think for me, you're saying one thing and not actually producing something to make sure that happens, and so I'm in conflict with
Sure.
you being able to actually reduce the number of people per day, which I think might mitigate some of the challenges with your neighbors, the impact on the farm equipment. This isn't just, I mean, time is money, that is super important, but also there's a huge risk to the county and to our neighbors. I have a risk person sitting in here, and I feel like if I don't bring this up, I would have a missed opportunity. You know, with the amount of harvesting that we have out in the EFU areas, the equipment that comes with that is dangerous around average vehicles on the roads. And if we have combines and so forth just sitting in the middle of a road with a Prius driving around it, there's room for challenge to exist, which creates liability, not just for you, but that farmer who is being forced into an unwanted space because of
Right.
your activity. And I do have concern about that. I think it's a great event. I literally just invited some people to it a couple of weeks ago, telling them, you know, about activities that we have in Marion County, and I brought yours up. I think it's a unique experience and opportunity, and I do believe that you work hard to try to be a good neighbor.
Very much so.
And I think that I am unsure that expanding it to a third weekend is what's best for the community. And so
Okay.
I think I need for my peers to help me, you know, get there if that's the direction that you think we should be going. But in general, I mean, I think it's been a challenge for the neighbors in the community. It's a burden on resources. And there's a lot of positives to it.
I think what I would like to see is your neighbors who are farming here supporting you expanding to a third week. That would be really helpful for me. And one of the reasons is that I think we have a very common sense approach to uses outside the urban growth boundary,
Sure.
right? Like, we want people to be able to live their life. I remember when I learned
Absolutely.
that people couldn't host weddings at their farms. I was like, give me a break. Like, is this a joke?
We fixed that, by the way.
So we have a very common sense view of this sort of thing. But that only can exist so long as the primary purpose of that land is being able to be used, which is as farmland. So
Sure.
if the farmers are having trouble doing what they're supposed to be doing, it makes it harder for us to support people who want to do more creative things with their land. So I think that's kind of where my head's at on this.
Mr. Cameron? any
Well,
thoughts?
I know I've been here for a lot of years and you've been doing this, and I think, I will say that last year, I think you made a lot of improvements, and to get this email from, you know, input from a farmer about the expansion, that's the only key. I kind of agree with Commissioner Willis in the fact that if we can fix that, fix the Uber situation, I'm still good with going with 2 days.
With 2 weekends or 3?
No, it was 2 weekends in the past, and you're asking to go to a third weekend.
Yes, sir.
And you did some really good things last year to improve the traffic and.
And I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm extremely aware of it.
Right, so I'm good with still staying at 2 weekends, kind of like what Commissioner Willis just said, and working with the farmer to see that he could get support for next year, if that's what you still want to do, to go to 3 weekends. But I think that's what I would like to see, because this has been a really great event. It attracts a lot of people, and as both commissioners have said, giving people an opportunity to use their land and have good things, but also there's always this tension between our agricultural, we're the #1 ag producing county in the state, And
Oh, really?
We all,
Yeah.
yes, and
Far
we
out.
always, we always want to make sure that we can protect that as well.
Sure,
With
I
our
understand.
land use and stuff. So I'm supportive here today to support a conditional use permit that would allow you to continue the 2 weekends that you've had in the past, and work with the farmer that would be able to help you figure out a way that next year he could come in here and say, hey, we worked together on these issues, and it's gonna, yes, it impacts me, but I can live with what we're doing next year.
Understandable.
Getting the Uber drivers out of the way and those types of things, so.
As far as I
That's-
know, that was the only holdup. I got the people off the road, I got, because that 1 year, oh, what a nightmare. Anyway, so last year, that was the only holdup that I'm aware of. And getting them off, which is stupid anyway, getting them off the road, and it's a place that there's no competition, so it's not like they have to stop and wait. They just drive in, swing around, drop their people off, and drive out. Boom, done. But they didn't do that last year. So what I will do is task my parking people to make sure that doesn't happen.
Nancy, I appreciate that you're here and we're going through this. Since the commander's in the room, would you mind dragging a chair up next to John for me, please? Thank you. Just introduce yourself before I ask your questions.
My name's Jason Bernards, and I'm Enforcement Division Commander for the Sheriff's Office.
Thanks for being here. Is there anything that you want to add to this today?
Yeah, I would just ask that the security staff, I think that there's an education part of this as far as allowing the Sheriff's Office on the property. We only responded to 3 calls during the two weekends last year. One was a hit and run in the parking lot, nothing. One was a fireworks complaint that was actually called in by security, and then this dog in a hot car. And I wasn't there, and unfortunately the deputy doesn't work with us anymore. He works for the state police now, so I haven't talked to him. But in reading the report, they were not going to allow us on the property, and I don't think the deputy was properly aware of the mass gathering permit and the language there either. So that's just a potential altercation issue there that we'd like to avoid.
Thank you. I think it's interesting to me that we would have any security team operating in Marion County in general that would prohibit access to the sheriff's office. I know that you said that you were going to address that. I would like you to address that in writing
I
with
will do that.
with whoever it is that you hire. I think it's imperative that we have a good understanding
yeah.
of the role that the sheriff's office plays, not just in this conditional use permit, but in public safety in our community. And I don't really want any security organization operating in a way that would be combative.
I didn't hear about it till this morning.
Right, and
so-
and that's fine. I think last year you were really open to suggestions from this
Yeah,
commission and also the staff of the county. And I think just working through some of those things in writing, and then
Sure.
also potentially to mitigate some of the challenges that Mr. Lowe brought up in regards to the maneuvering of equipment, which I am actually really concerned about. Farming season is a high risk for farming death because cars don't respect the dangers of farm vehicles and the vulnerability of the individual in that vehicle. Like I live on a farm, I live in farm communities, and we have to be very diligent about those vehicles and just the respect for our community. I wonder if there's an opportunity for you to work with ODOT additionally on signage of the road specifically that Mr. Lowe called out, which is Valley View Road.
Right.
Stating that there is no turnaround, that parking is not permitted down there. Working through some activities of additional signage to prevent
Absolutely.
the masses from entering onto essentially what it seems like is a non-passing road that hinders his operation
It's
in
a
large.
farm road.
Yeah, okay,
I mean, there's no lines on it. It's just a farm road.
great. And the reason we're talking about this right now is because John's gonna put some of this language in the permit, so that way we
Sure.
have it on record and you have access to be able to maybe leverage it with some of your partners that you're hiring to do the work. Is there anything else that you guys would like added into the record? Okay.
No, but I do think we're gonna need some help on whatever the motion is.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commander, for coming forward. John?
Hey again, Commissioners. So a couple notes and quick discussions with Brandon. If the decision is to approve for only 2 weekends, we need to decide those weekends and hear from the applicant today which
Okay.
2 weekends they would be. Also, as an option, the board could keep the hearing open for up to a month for the applicant to address some of these issues and come back before you.
I mean, if you can kind of get the farm community on your team in a month, I'm fine with that.
That's what I'd suggest, Madam Chair. It's up to you if you want us to hold the record open.
Essentially, what we would be asking you to do then is we would give you 30 days to go execute a conversation with your neighbors to see if there's a way to accommodate their challenges and bring that solution back to
Okay.
this body with documented support from Mr. Lowe likely and others if that's necessary.
As far as I know, Kevin Lowe is the only one that is moving it. I mean, he harvests a lot of fields in that area,
I
including
think
mine.
what would be interesting to me though is what would be the impact on your neighbors if they were to learn from you specifically that you're asking for a third weekend? Right now, they might not be complaining because they feel like, okay, we can get through 2 weekends.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, surprise, the county's approved you for a third weekend and they were none the wiser because nobody door knocked them and nobody invited them to a town hall to let them know about that. And then we get the backlash of that
Right.
after the event. And so
I'm
does
happy
the planning
keep-
department.
I'm happy keeping it for 2 weekends, the same to the last 2 full weekends in July.
Okay.
If that's what the
We
county
can-
is comfortable
we can do
with,
that today.
I'm totally comfortable
We
with
can do
that.
that today.
We can
And
do
then-
that today for
And
you.
then next year, if it gives you time to do what you need to do for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally okay with that.
Okay.
Great.
Is that what you needed, John?
Could we state the dates?
It would be,
The last
this year,
two.
it would be July 19, 20, 26, 27.
Perfect, thank you. And Brandon has.
So
wrote-
1920 is I'm sorry, this is a July, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so Saturday, Sunday,
yes.
okay. So the 19th, 20th, and the 26th and
27th.
27th.
Mhm.
Okay.
When it boils down to it, I want everybody to walk away going, cool.
Yeah,
And I mean patrons, farmers, my staff, everybody, I want everybody to have fun.
you know,
And be safe.
I'll definitely tell you that there's not been 1 year since I've been a commissioner, this is my 5th, that I felt like you've felt resistant to
No,
the
not even
suggestions,
close. Yes.
to the compromise and the opportunity. One of these years I'll make it out there so I can actually see it.
It's a good show. It's a lot of fun.
Brandon?
Hi, Commissioners. For the record, Brandon Reich, Marion County Planning Director. I wanted to just jump in to help craft maybe some conditions that that the board could consider.
Wonderful.
One is we already have a requirement that from Marion County LDEP that the applicant increase shuttles to 8 per parking site during peak events. And a second, maybe to add to that, would be related to adequate signage to indicate, I don't know what we call generic lift type services, ride share services, to direct them on site. Something related to adequate signage to direct ride share services on site.
Okay.
Another would be, I think, under the generic, or under compliance, provide in writing evidence of cooperation with her security team regarding sheriff and fire access on site,
Okay. And the health department?
and the health department. Those are the only two I heard the board mention, and those are just suggested
Yes.
conditions.
Do we have to put those in the record? Do we have to put those in the motion, or can we just refer to the conditions that were mentioned?
You can refer to the ones I mentioned or modify them.
That's what we did last year.
You also would have the option, I think, if you wanted to close the public hearing and then direct the planning director to prepare conditions to bring back to a future board session to adopt after you have a chance to review them, or we could just craft them right now and finalize them now.
Is that a burden on you?
Whatever you need me to do, I will do.
Whatever's,
I don't.
whatever's easier for these guys.
Is that what you prefer, yeah, to come back?
Do you,
It's up to the board. If you'd like to see these conditions, we can write them up the way we talked about here, make any modifications. We can run by, we'll discuss with legal counsel too to make sure. But if you'd like to see them again, we're happy to come back.
I don't personally need you to come back and or see them. I think you've captured what I was looking for.
yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay, so, is there anything else?
Nothing.
Great,
Commissioners.
then Commissioner, one of you can take a stab at the motion. It's actually his, but.
It's whose? Is it mine?
It's
Is it
technically
mine?
Commissioner Willis's,
Oh,
so- but you're welcome to take it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Madam Chair, we're going to close the public hearing. I move that we close the public hearing, and I move that we approve a conditional use permit for the two,
It's a mass gathering.
mass gathering permit for the 2 weekends that were mentioned, that are on the record, and with the conditions that have been mentioned here by staff.
Along with the conditions in the report.
Exist, along with the conditions in the existing report that was submitted.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. The
That's why I
motion-
sit next to legal
The
counsel.
motion passes. Actually, it's always a work in progress, and so I think it was a success. We've approved your permit for the last 2 weekends of July. And again, I would encourage you to talk to your community about wanting to expand into a third weekend before next year's application, if that's what you
Okay.
want to do for 2026.
It's an idea.
I just think it's very neighborly, to bring people into the discussion and let them know and hear feedback. And also it might help you with efficiency and planning, not be reactive or
That's true.
proactive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here.
All right,
And
thank
good luck
you.
this weekend. All right, anything else, gentlemen? Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Is
Thank
there anything
you.
else for the record?
No, ma'am.
All right, we're adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.